Hello everybody, Claudia Boleyn here, and today I thought we'd do a fun little video. It's a feminist video, and I thought we'd look through some anti-feminist memes. I was linked to one recently and I was fascinated, and so I looked them up on sort of Google and on the internet, and they're really easy to find, they're all over the place. And I thought I'd go through some of these strange anti-social justice memes, which are supposed to paint feminists in a bad light, but often have this really bad misinterpretation of feminism as an idea. And it's just very, very strange. So I thought we'd go through some memes together, and I thought it would be a laugh. So I'm going to move to one side so we can put the memes on the screen so you can see them as I'm talking, and we're going to go through some of these memes I found, so I hope you enjoy this. Okay, so possibly the weirdest one I found is this one. It says, Father's Day is coming. Brace yourself for the feminist hate fest. This is the oddest meme I found. I mean, first of all, why... They've done like a Game of Thrones theme with this, like they've kind of put the winter is coming vibe in, you've got Ned Stark in the picture. Has anyone ever seen a feminist hate fest going on Father's Day? Because I've never seen... Does this happen? Has anyone seen this happen? Is there a hate fest on Father's Day? Okay, so this next one. I'm not your possession. Treat me like a princess. So I'm not your possession. I think that's a very reasonable thing to say, like any human being of any gender to any other human being. I'm not your possession. No one is a possession. That's very true. Now, the treat me like a princess thing, why are they acting like that's the opposite of I'm not your possession? Why do they think that wanting to be treated like a princess, as some women tend to say, due to the way, I might add, that we're brought up, you know, aspiring to that idea of princesses and princes and true love, which can be really harmful to us, but it is the way a lot of young girls are brought up. Why does that imply you have to be a possession? I think what a lot of girls mean by that when they say treat me like a princess is treat me with respect, give me true love, treat me like you love me and like I'm really important to you. I mean, you've got to remember that a lot of young girls, we've been brought up on like the Disney films, and there is this narrative in our society that makes girls kind of want to aspire to that idea of princesses and princes and true love. And yes, you can definitely critique that whole narrative, and I certainly do, but I don't see why wanting to be treated like a princess would mean that you're happy to be someone's possession. Like, again, it doesn't make any sense. Oh my god, this one. Complains about husband's facial hair in the sink. Leaves pubic hair in the bathtub. There's a personal story behind this, isn't there? I feel like this is like a very particular pet peeve of the guy who's made this. I feel like his wife maybe just has a habit of leaving her pubes in the tub. And like, mate, I understand that must be really frustrating, she needs to sort that out. But I don't think that's a general issue against feminism. Is this really a feminist issue? I don't really think it is. I think another one from the same person here. Boyfriend is Einstein. He's still wrong. I think this guy maybe just has a wife, which maybe he doesn't get on with. And I think maybe instead of making feminist memes, I think this guy needs to sort out his marriage. I think this speaks more of a wider problem in his particular relationship than of the feminist movement. Okay, this one's weird. Complains about how she can't find love. Sleeps with a different guy twice a week. So this is a really good example of sex shaming, where women are shamed for the amount of sex they have and if they enjoy sex. Now, why can't a woman complain that she can't find love, but also sleep with different people? I don't understand that. If you're single and you're a consenting adult, then what's wrong with sleeping with as many people as you like? And why would that not allow you to find love? The kind of sinister implication behind this is that a woman who has lots of sex and maybe is a slut won't ever find love because she's not marriage material. That's just like a really creepy notion that I don't like. Okay, this one is quite sinister as well. Stop sexually objectifying me and buy my calendar in which I pose nude. A common feminist theme, as a great many members of the feminist community often pose nude in calendars. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a nude calendar out, but I don't think that's particularly a big issue within the feminist community. Now, of course, it's perfectly reasonable for anyone to say, you know, stop sexually objectifying me, because being objectified means being treated like an object rather than a person. I think the issue here is one of consent. I mean, for example, you would say stop objectifying me when you're just being a person, when you're sort of in the workplace or something, and you know, you want to be treated as a person, always. Now when perhaps if you're doing a calendar and maybe it's a raunchy calendar and you're nude, that is still not being objectified, and there's consent involved there. You are portraying yourself in the way that you want to be portrayed. It's on your terms. To appreciate someone in a sexual way does not automatically mean objectifying them. There's a difference between appreciating someone aesthetically and sexually and objectifying them, and I think a lot of people who are anti-feminist, anti-social justice don't quite get that and they really confuse it a lot of the time. Here's another one from that guy in the bad relationship. Taking out the garbage is the man's job. Where in the Feminist Manifesto does it say that taking out the garbage is the man's job? And also the frustrating thing about this is that a lot of the problems that these people seem to have with feminism are actually the same things that feminists have problems with, and their actual issue is the patriarchy. So I'm guessing that the deeper meaning behind this is that taking out the garbage is like a gross sort of strenuous sort of job, isn't it? So like a woman like will tend to do like the housework and stuff, and the guy will wash the car and take out the garbage and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think feminists in general would have a problem with men taking out the garbage, but like I don't think that's a feminist belief that men should take out the garbage. I think again that's that guy's particular partner, and maybe dude, like, just take out the damn garbage. This one's odd. I can do any job a man can do, but I can't lift that, it's too heavy. I don't really think, again, the Feminist Manifesto says that any woman can do any job that any man can do. I think, like, the general consensus is that there are people from all different genders that will be good at different things, and we shouldn't, like, box people into careers based on their gender. Like, for example, there'll be some women which are really strong and will become, like, bodybuilders and weightlifters and stuff. Not every woman will, but some women will be able to do that. Just like there are loads of men that are really great with kids and will want to stay at home and look after their children while their wife goes out to work. It's really concerning that you judge like women's ability to be able to do the same jobs as men on like how much weight they can lift. I mean, yeah, there are some jobs where you have to do heavy lifting, and like I would imagine you'd need to have a certain level of strength, but again, that's not like a gendered thing. You get men who aren't very physically strong as well. This is just really weird. Okay, this one I can make no sense of. Won't change last name when married. Expects diamond engagement ring. Okay, won't change last name when married. Like, that's a pretty reasonable thing. Some women prefer not to change their last name because like in the past it was kind of a signal of sort of ownership, like way back in the past that was kind of what it was, and loads of women are absolutely fine with it, and I'm not saying it is a sign of ownership or a bad thing, but some women just prefer to have their own name. It like means something to them. Maybe they've got some sort of brand or something with their name attached and they just want to keep it for some reason. That's reasonable if that's what you want, like I would think. I mean, we don't expect men to generally change their name to their wife's last name, so reasonably we shouldn't be expecting women to do that and take on their husband's last name if they don't want to. Now, what has that got to do with expecting a diamond engagement ring? First of all, I don't think that this is like an overriding feminist thing. Like have you ever heard of that? Like, one of the top feminist rules to get into being a feminist, you must receive a diamond engagement ring from your husband, otherwise you don't qualify. I mean, I actually see a lot of critique from feminists about the idea of marriage and like the way it's presented as this kind of commercial, like, capitalist thing, and it's about objects and money rather than love and all that kind of... I see loads of those sort of critiques. I mean, these two topics, they don't even link up. Okay, now let's look at this one. This one's interesting. So, my body, my choice, and underneath it says, for circumcision. Now, generally feminists are very anti-circumcision. I don't understand why this is put as a feminist belief, because feminism is all about body autonomy and each person having the choice of what happens to their own body. I have never in my life come across a feminist that is pro-circumcision. I mean, it goes against the idea of body autonomy. Why is this on a meme about feminism? It makes me really annoyed, because obviously the person who's made this meme against feminism doesn't understand what feminism is. Okay, this one. Looks for sexism on the internet. I found sexism on the internet. But I think we all know it's not actually that hard to find sexism on the internet. I mean, you only have to go into my comments section on various videos about feminism and you'll see it for yourself. I can assure you that if you're a woman on the internet, you will come across sexism. You don't even have to be a woman on the internet. If you're a person on the internet, if you're on the internet for a couple of hours in a day or something, you will see, I guarantee you, you will see some form of sexism on the internet. Why would looking for sexism on the internet and then finding sexism on the internet be anti-feminism? Surely that's pro-feminism, because she found sexism on the internet. She was proved correct. Okay, this one's disturbing. Equal rights, equal rights. You can't hit me, I'm a girl. This is a worrying trend I find in people who are anti-feminism. Like, it's their first thing they go to. You say you're a feminist, and they say so can I hit you then? Like, no, you can't. Nobody should be hitting anybody, okay? Like, that's not good. Feminists believe in body autonomy. We shouldn't be hitting anyone. So if your first response to a feminist, like when they say they're a feminist, is, does that mean I can hit you? You need to reassess the way you're thinking about the world. Why is that the first thing that comes into your head when a woman asks for equality? There are so many men out there that just have this desire, this deep desire to hit women, and it seems to be a real anger to them. And it's like the only benefit they can see in equal rights, even though they don't agree with feminism, is, oh, maybe it means I can punch a woman in the face. Great. Okay, this one's quite serious. Complaints about women being raped never stopped a man from being raped. Surely complaining about anyone being raped, complaining about women being raped, is a good thing. I mean, surely any person with a conscience would complain about something like that happening. Now, what do they mean, never stopped a man from being raped? Like, I personally, I don't think I've ever stopped a man from being raped. I've never actually been in a situation where that's happened and I've been able to intervene, but I would hope that if I was in that situation I would intervene. Look, people seem to think that the majority of feminists are all like, oh, men can't be raped and all that kind of thing, but really most of the feminists I know of, and like the feminists I interact with, especially intersectional feminists, are very aware that you can be raped regardless of gender, and the perpetrator can be of any gender. That's a big thing I see being brought up, and I see a lot of activism to do with that, with the people I interact with, making sure that men are aware that they too can be raped. I think so many men out there have been taught that they can't be raped, so they can't even identify it, and this unfortunate evil thing that the patriarchy has done with, you know, gender roles, is they make a lot of men feel like they're weak in some way if they've been overpowered by a woman or a woman has raped them, because women are supposed to be meek and mild and men are supposed to be able to fight them off, right? So I think that problem is a legitimate problem. Like, men being raped is a big problem, but that's not a problem which has been created by feminists. It's a problem that feminists really want to solve. I think your issue here, my friend, is with the patriarchy and toxic masculinity and gender roles. I want equality for women. Get the women and children out first. This is not the Titanic, my friends. And also, the whole reason that the women and children got out first is because women were considered, because of gender roles, and are often still considered, less able to sort of look after themselves, and men were considered to be the protectors and, you know, to be more strong and assertive, and women needing men to protect them and being there to look after the children, because obviously women are considered, you know, with gender roles and the patriarchy, to be better with children. That's an issue with the patriarchy, that's not an issue with feminism yet again. Wants equal rights, expects the door to be held open for her. I don't know about you guys, but I've always been brought up by my family to hold the door open for any person of any gender. I've just been taught that that's good manners. If someone is coming through a door behind you, then you hold the door open for them. That to me just seems like good manners and courtesy. I don't see why wanting to have the door held open for you, which I consider to be like good manners no matter the gender, would mean that you're not entitled to equal rights. Because this is like a meme, I'm pretty sure the girl in this image is not the person that like actually said this quote. She's probably a feminist that's actually been used for this meme. But anyway, it says, I need feminism because I love whining about everything and doing nothing about it. Of course, when women express anger, we're just considered to be whining. That's a sexist belief anyway, because we're often told that we're just whining about nothing. Also, what a silly generalising statement to say that feminists don't try and do anything about the situation. like 1 minute we're considered too angry and too argumentative and too critical because we're trying to do stuff and because we do protests and, you know, sign petitions and try and make some sort of social change, and the next minute we don't do anything. Like, make up your minds. Okay, so we're gonna end with a meme of Anita Sarkeesian, a woman who I really admire, and I've made a video about her before. Like, I really feel like the hate she gets is so unwarranted and so unfair. Okay, so receives death threats. Becomes a damsel in distress, the trope she hates. Now that is a perfect example of buying into the patriarchy. Now it's this idea that asking for help or showing that you are vulnerable or showing that you've been hurt makes you weak. Now that is an idea that feminists are opposed to. That would be an idea that Anita Sarkeesian, I am sure, would be opposed to. I don't think there's any weakness in receiving a death threat and reacting to that with some distress. I think that's a perfectly normal human reaction. When Anita is talking about the damsel in distress trope, she's talking about a trope in the media which forms how a lot of us see the world. Being a feminist does not mean you suddenly get rid of all those traditionally feminine traits, like, you know, being emotional and being able to show that sort of vulnerability. Like, that's a very positive thing for all genders. There's never any harm in expressing that you're upset. Is this person saying that you should just accept death threats? They're just what happens when you're a woman on the internet. You should just deal with it. I personally think that's quite despicable, and I think it's really, really wrong to act like a person who's been the victim of abuse and harassment and this long campaign, when they talk about it, to try and paint them as a damsel in distress. That's a willful misinterpretation there, and that's completely wrong. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video where we went through some very old anti-feminist memes. I hope it gave you a bit of a laugh. I enjoyed it. As I say, like, you can find these sort of things online all the time. Like, you just type it into Google, they're all over the place. There's so many. I could have made this video so long, there's so many of them. I just picked a couple that kind of came up first. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you really soon for more videos. Okay, I love you loads, and I'll see you really soon. Bye!